Hi everyone, my name is Chris Sellek. You may know me as that guy down in Durham who never shuts up about that book he wrote that one time. By the way, if you want a physical copy, I have ways to send them out to people now, so go ahead and DM me. Maybe you know me as that guy in Durham who's just barely making it through COVID world. No, seriously, is he okay? I'm not. Or maybe even as that incredibly good-looking man on my screen right now. I'm here to talk to you all today about my family who is 100% fake. Dang it. Real. They're 100%. Allow me to explain. In order to properly explain this, we're going to have to travel back to the beginning of my career. So travel with me, if you will, all the way back to 2012. And for those of you who don't feel old enough yet, that was now 8 years ago. You're welcome. And since this is a family-friendly event, while we're here, let's give the kids a little bit of a history lesson on 2012. Kids, 2012 was both better and worse than 2020 in a number of ways. It was better in that we had access to things like, human contact, restaurants, theaters, literally anything other than the four walls of our house, the ability to leave said four walls of your house without having to wear a mask, the absence of a constant fear of contracting a deadly virus that part of the population thinks doesn't even exist, a world where a grocery store trip was actually not the highlight of our month or, year, and things like vacations, which were these really old things where you would go somewhere you didn't live for like a week for reasons? I can't remember. Not to mention that you'd actually go to another building for work and school, also for reasons I can't really remember. And of course, it was also worse than 2020 in some ways, in that while smartphones did exist, their screens were about that big, and in that while the internet did exist, it looked like this. I'm sorry you had to see that, kids. Anyway, 2012 was a big year for me personally, because it was the year that I got engaged to my now wife, who is definitely real, and also the year that I got my first full-time salaried position as a QA engineer. Except I'm so old that back then it was just called QA, and automated testing was nothing more than literal magic. So the company I landed in was called Reverb Nation. And if you're thinking to yourself, Reverb Nation, why does that sound so familiar? Wait, was that site full of wholly mediocre artists who all thought they were God's gift to music? Yes. Yes, it was. It still exists. They laid me off. They're dead to me. So I walk in on day one and I start getting introduced to all my new coworkers. And I meet a woman who has had a tremendous impact on my entire career and on my personal life, and not just because of the story that I'm telling you right now. Her name was Jenny Bramble. And for those who don't know, we work together again here at Willow Tree, and yes, it is very awesome. Now, I'm going to be completely honest here. I was filled with a little bit of trepidation upon approaching Jenny because a mutual friend had previously described her to me as the stabby one. Anyway, I walked up, and I'm getting ready to introduce myself, shake her hand and everything, and literally the very first thing she said to me was, "Oh, you look adorably snobby in your Bluetooth headset." Okay, Hi, I'm Chris. So, some time goes by and we all have a chance to learn about each other at this new job. Namely, my coworkers learned about my then fiance and now wife, Stephanie. Once again, she's 100% real. Back then, Stephanie was attending UNCG in Greensboro for nursing. And after that, she was studying for her nursing exam thing, whatever that is. And then after that, she was working the night shift. And I say all of that to say that she really couldn't come to company events because she was, saving lives, Jenny. And so naturally, Jenny did the only thing that she could do, and she started a rumor that Stephanie didn't actually exist. And she didn't do this by grabbing a group of coworkers and being like, "Hey, y'all, listen, it would be super funny if we all started pretending that Chris's wife doesn't exist." No. That is way too subtle for Jenny. Instead, she started introducing me to people at the company who I had never met before like this. This is Chris, his wife isn't real. This is Ben. And of course, If I ever tried showing someone a picture of Stephanie, Jenny would be very quick to jump in and point out that the woman in the picture was the woman I had hired to play my wife in my lifelong con. The thing that bothered me the most about this inside joke at Reverb was not that they were pretending that my wife didn't exist. I like inside jokes as much as the next guy. The thing that bothered me the most here is that we had another coworker there at Reverb who literally had a girlfriend who lived in Canada, and she was totally real. I mean, obviously, why would anyone even question that one, right? She's totally 100% real. Chris's wife, though? Nah, no, 100% fake. So 3.5 years of this go by, and Jenny and I ended up getting laid off on the same day. We ended up at separate companies after that, and while I was certainly devastated about losing my job at the cool, trendy startup and, no longer working with Jenny, I thought that at least this was the end of the fake family jokes. So you can imagine my shock when at this new company that had no one from Reverb followed me to this company. I mentioned my wife one day, and I got met with, "Oh, do you mean the wife that doesn't exist?" What is happening? As it turns out, Jenny knew someone who worked with me at this new company and snuck the joke in through them. And honestly, that's just impressive. Look, this was definitely one of those I'm not mad, that's amazing things. The best part about all of this is that she never told me that she was the one responsible for sneaking that joke in until after I left that company 2 years later. Which, I mean, the self-control exhibited there is it's just impressive. It's just amazing. So, I always like to give props where props are due. Major props to Jenny for that one, but also, what the heck? So, another couple years go by, and Jenny and I end up working here at Willow Tree together. And we even went to orientation in Charlottesville the same week together. And I was very excited about this because my wife was actually able to come to orientation with me. So after our first day of orientation, where, Jenny is doing her best to tell the entire Seville office that my wife and kids aren't real, our little orientation group went to dinner together. So I get into the restaurant with my wife, and I'm just I'm giddy. I am so excited. We order our meals, and we start going around the table doing introductions. I'm like, yes, it's finally going to be over, finally. So we finally get to me and my wife, and I proudly announce that the woman sitting next to me is my wife. And I'm thinking, finally, it's over. It's all over. And then someone asked her what she did for a living, and she responded with, "Oh, I'm an actress. He hires me to play his wife." So yeah, that's my story about why my family's real. Crap.